and Draymond Green, by the way, to ultimately get what they want financially. Well, he would be doing the job of an agent, and could the Warriors be the ones just getting used for leverage? Arson Judge, part 2. We'll get into all the baseball stuff coming up in a bit. Here's what he had to say.
The people in the league that I'm talking to today are giving me the side eye.
Okay.
And they're going, this is going to end up with Draymond Green getting a new contract in Golden State, LeBron getting a new contract in Los Angeles, and Anthony Davis getting a new contract in Washington. And again, I will just say that's all possible. But we just saw last week, okay, as you know, Rich, I am in enormous actions over words. I don't care about words. I only really care about actions.
Yes.
Last week, the Lakers were offering Austin Reeves this amount of money. He wasn't happy. Okay, he thought he might have to go elsewhere. The Lakers were concerned that the Pistons were going to offer over the top.
Okay.
And they dramatically increased their offer. Austin Reeves couldn't even believe it. Passes out on the golf course, right? So we just saw last week the actions of the Lakers seeing another offer out there for one of their players and then increasing their offer, okay?
Yes.
We just saw last week the Wizards giving Trae Young $200 million in a contract extension. And if I'm Anthony Davis, I'm saying, well, if they're going to give Trae Young a contract extension, why wouldn't they give me a contract extension? Okay? So I'm not saying I know, but part of this could be creating leverage for AD and LeBron in both Washington and LA, and then everybody gets paid on a contract. Or they could all end up in Golden State. I'm not sure which is going to be.
I love that or at the end. They actually could all end up in Golden State after a minute and a half of, wouldn't that be the Rich Paul masterclass of new contracts for LeBron, AD, and Draymond all in 3 different locations? And he's right. The actions of the Lakers being scared of losing Austin Reeves got him a 4-year, $185 million payday. Anthony Davis just saw Trae Young get a bunch of money, and he's like, hey, where's mine? And Draymond, by the way, instead of taking the $27 million, I know it looks like a short-term pay cut. In the long run, let's call it 2 and 40, 3 and 50, something that's ultimately more money.
Even if the Warriors are getting played here, do they really have any choice other than to go down the path and hope for the best?
No, that's what I said earlier. I said you have to try. If there's a window, if there's a possible signal, even if you are just getting played, guess what? Your desperation is getting taken advantage of. What do you want to be? A team that you're looking at the ceiling as, 42 wins? You have to try.
I mean, you may be that team anyway if it doesn't work out. So it's like you might as well. And, LeBron be damned and everything you'd have to give up. And are you hurting the Jimmy Butler relationship in the midst of all of this, which I don't think is necessarily a thing, considering the fact that Jimmy's only got the 1 year left on his contract and isn't going to play until probably at least January, if not later. So I think that's a lesser concern in this whole thing. But I just don't think the Warriors have a choice. They've almost tamped down expectations for everybody as to what the goals are going to be, while they're silently attempting to put the goals back up through the ceiling if they can pull off some of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, imagine they pull this off. Then what's all that expectation talk about? Well, we're not going to be saying championship. Okay, but behind closed doors, you know what you have. You know the accomplishments. And, by the way, to your point from earlier, you're going to be the most talked about team nationally every single day for a season.
And there is a value in that in terms of the relevance. And could the Warriors internally handle all of that? Because, Davis comes with his own weirdness surrounding him, right? LeBron, maybe more than any player in the history of the league, comes with the leaks and the conversations and the narratives and the people, speaking about him in a certain way that can be condescending toward teammates and the impact of him over others, even players as accomplished as Steph Curry. So it definitely would be a wild ride, even if it was a wild ride to a similar position as, say, the Warriors were at the end of that 2025 season, or maybe at the end of that 2023 season, where they were a one round and win and then be done in the second round type of a team.
As were the Lakers this year as well. And I know that Luka Doncic got injured, and that told a big story in it too. But we're also talking about two teams in their own right. LeBron's team, Steph's team, that have done well, but have not been able to get over that hump for, I don't know, since Steph won a title in 22.
It all comes back to, if you're the Warriors, would you rather have LeBron and AD and Steph and Draymond and be a team that maybe gets out of the first round or doesn't, versus a team that's going to win 36 games? Like, it's an easy choice. I mean, honestly, it's an easy choice in the short term. Now, what you don't want to do is make some decisions, in particular financial ones, that completely screw you over for the post-Steph era by giving Davis a bunch of money. I mean, I do think that's the one thing where you have to be careful, even more than the picks. But, there is its own, the level of, how much of an availability will LeBron have, and how much availability you're going to have Steph, and AD is part of that, and you're going to pay AD. And then it's the other things, such as AD doesn't like to play the 5, right? Like little things like that. So if he's going to play the 4, does that mean Draymond's coming off the bench? And then you've got Draymond coming off the bench as a 4-5, and who's going to start? And so there's all those basketball things that you'd have to figure out eventually. But at this point, I think if you're the Warriors, I mean, what you're staring at right now is so bleak compared to what you've stared at for a decade plus, that you still don't have a choice but to attempt to go all in, even if you are getting leveraged in ways that we've seen other big-time free agents leverage the Giants through the years.
Well, and maybe this is a conversation for later down the line, but just to go devil's advocate on all that, I agree that you have to try. That said, what would be the norm of a lineup? Because one thing that I think Steve Kerr can rightfully be criticized for is taking too long to figure out what the norm is. And we've talked about how if you go into the year next year with a focus of getting younger, there might need to be two norms. The one when you have all the vets and the ones when you don't. Well, if you have LeBron, AD, Draymond, and Steph, and then these younger players, is that just going to put them down the path of just constant tinkering in the regular season where there's not a level of consistency that makes it work?
I may be forgetting somebody, but I think if they pull all this off, I think it would end up being Horford starts with Davis, LeBron, Pods, Steph.
Yeah,
and I think Draymond would come off the bench as more of a
backup 5,
as more of a specialist. Backup 4-5. I think Yaxel would be coming off the bench, obviously as a 3-4. Santos would be coming off the bench as a 3-4. I think at that point they'd be trying to go still find one more combo guard that would come in and take the minimum, and then beyond that it's the Will Richards of the world that would be in that mix. And maybe I'm forgetting